For a homeschooling class, we decided to dissect a sheep brain. The sheep brain was acquired by homesciencetools.com.
Of the three, sheep brains are compact and easy to observe, so that's why they're normally used for dissection. The brain controls movement, respiration, do you guys know what respiration is? Breathing, memory, and processes sensory signals, making it a critical part of a functioning body.
It looks like spaghetti. The outside of it looks like spaghetti. Yeah.
I lost my appetite.
It's a ripe smell. That's why
I opened the door. We sat here last night trying to convince ourselves it smells like pumpkin guts. Nope, it smells like pumpkin guts. The outer part of the brain is called the cortex. The cortex is where information is usually stored, as well as where the connection between different parts of the brain are made. It consists of all these little grooves and ridges. You guys can see all the little bumps there? Yeah, I mean, they're kind of smoothed out right now, but normally those would be a lot if you put a glove on. Hi, princess. I'm not calling you right now. You want me to pass it down so you can feel it, Jonah?
Anna?
You want to feel it? Grooves are called S-U-I-C-I-S-U-L-C-I? Are called gyri, then singular is gyrus. The reason the cortex isn't completely smooth on the surface is that you would be limited in the ability to grow if it was smooth. But with it being all bumpy and wavy, it can grow bigger, right? Instead, as your brain grows, the cortex is able to expand by stacking more layers together, forming the bumps in the... Notice there are different shaped lobes and sections of the brain. So like right here, this is a different section, right? And right here, and then you can see the two halves up here. And on the bottom, there's all these different areas. Those that are most visible on the outside are the cerebellum. Cerebrum. The cerebellum. Yes, thank you. And the olfactory bulbs. The spinal cord is this part right here. It can also be seen protruding from the back of the brain. Membranes are called meninges. Yeah, that's like a little piece of one. The meninges consist of three layers: the Dura Matter, the arachnoid matter, and the pia matter. The Dura Matter is the white, thick, outermost membrane which acts to support and protect the brain. Not all specimens come with the Dura Matter still attached. This one doesn't really look like it is attached. The pia mater covers and protects the central nervous system and encloses blood vessels and the spinal cord fluid within the cortex. The cerebral spinal fluid, mentioned above, acts as a cushion for the cortex and the spinal cord. Why would you need a cushion for your brain?
You don't go big.
Right. Shock absorption. So like you shake your head around too much, or if you go on a roller coaster, your brain goes like this inside your head, and that fluid helps keep your brain from hitting against your skull and killing you.
Well, Mr. John has 2 cents to add to that. Okay? Sheep are like goats, okay? So when we see Arthur and Jonah fight, they throw hands, right?
Yep.
Sheep and goat only fight with one thing, their forehead. Yep. Imagine headbutting constantly. So thus, why it needs that protective outer area.
It also provides immunological protection. Who knows what that means? That's a big word.
Ooh.
Immunological, do you know?
My brain's thinking immune to like diseases.
Right. It's
Bingo.
Disease protection.
Hey, I'm smart.
If you look directly down on the brain, it should look like this one. Does it look like that one? Kind of sort of. Cerebrum and the cerebellum will be clearly visible. Right here, this crack down the middle is called the longitudinal fissure. A fissure is like a crack. This is the left hemisphere, and this is the right hemisphere. Good job. The cerebellum is this little knobby part back here. This crack right here is the transverse crack or fissure. Fissure, if you want to be. Cerebrum, this front part up here, all of this, is the part of the brain that controls your emotion, your thought, your sensory perception, your memory, your analytical thinking. This is like your day-to-day when your mom says, go use your brain, then this is the part that your mom's talking about, the brain. Another word for hemisphere sections, the left and the right. They're divided by the longitudinal fissure, which you can see it there, or you can see it here. Cerebrum and the cerebellum are divided by the transverse fissure. The cerebellum has a number of important functions. It's the part of the brain that makes the execution of those movements fluid. The decision to move comes from up here. So up here, you're like, I want to do this. But then down here is what actually makes your body do it. It's hard to do certain movements smoothly. So a lot of times you'll see, primarily in older people, they'll have a stroke, and so they can't always work one half of their body or the other half properly. That's normally because back here has been damaged along with one of the sides up here, because back here is what helps you move smoothly. You'll see the olfactory bulbs. This spot and this spot, those are olfactory bulbs. What does olfactory mean?
It's old and it's a factory.
Good job. The nasal cavity?
Smelling. So these are responsible for sensing odors. The nose picks up the scent of the odor and sends a signal to these spots through like different nerves and whatnot. Yeah?
Like it smells like pumpy guts.
So one could say that the nose knows.
Wow, so funny.
There are little pairs of nerves on the bottom side of the brain. One of the largest pairs forms the optic
Nerve.
Optic.
chiasm.
Chiasm.
We're gonna say chiasm. Who knows what optic means?
Yes.
Good job. The optic whatever is formed by the optic nerve from each eye coming together. So your optic nerves, we learned about the optic nerves last night, come from your eyes, they go together, they cross.
Then
Yes,
they touch
and
the,
then they go
touch
into
the brain.
here. Nerves are responsible for relaying images perceived by the eye to the brain. Below that is this spot right here, this little white bumpy spot. Underneath that is the pituitary gland.
Pituitary.
Does anybody know what the pituitary gland does?
Mr. John knows. Mr. John
Go
knows.
ahead,
Of
Mr.
course
John.
you know.
Mr. John. It controls your hormones.
Good job,
and
Mr.
all
John.
and all the emotions that are associated with it. So when you're happy, the pituitary gland tells your body to make
Yep.
dopamine, and when you're sad and when you're tired, it tells your body to make serotonin.
Yep.
And then a bunch of other stuff.
Coming up. Pituitary gland is normally attached to the brain by the infundibulum. That's a fun word to say. But this usually gets removed with the Dura Matter. So because our brain does not have a Dura Matter, our brain does not have a pituitary gland on it, because the pituitary gland is on the outside of the Dura Matter. You probably won't be able to see it. The pituitary gland has a very important function. It controls reproduction, growth, body temperature regulation, and thyroid function, and your hormones. So it does a lot, even though it's like,
Half the size of a pea.
yeah. The medulla oblongata is located near where the spinal cord connects. So it's right here. Hang on, I'll show you in just a minute. With the brain just below the cerebellum. So, this organ controls involuntary functions. Can you guys think of one involuntary body function?
Breathing.
Okay, can you think of one?
Peeing.
That's
No.
not involuntary.
Looking.
Blinking.
Seeing.
Your heart. Involuntary means things that you don't think about, that your body just does.
Breathing.
So you breathe. Your body pumps blood through you and your heart works without you having to think about it. You don't.
Digesting food.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Those are all things that are involuntary. Right next to the medulla oblongata is the
Don't press down.
pons, which is right here, this little spot, which controls functions like hearing, taste, balance, sensation of touch and pain, and motor functions like chewing and swallowing.
Arthur, move that please. Where is that at again?
Right here.
All right.
Pons, you might be able to make out the lower part of the hypothalamus. Can anybody say that one?
The hypothalamus.
So that's like these little bumps right here from what this diagram is showing. Spinal cord, right here. It's the largest nerve in your body. It's visible at the back end of the brain. It's really a cluster of a whole bunch of smaller nerves, which are dispersed throughout the rest of the body. Your arms and legs are given feeling and muscle control through the nerves and the spinal cord. That's why people who suffer serious neck or back injuries often lose feeling or control of parts of their body. Depending on how the Dura Matter is removed, we don't know how it was removed, various nerves can be identified in addition to the spinal cord. So this particular specimen, the abducent nerve. Abducent nerve should be, it looks like it's this brown spot right here is the abducent nerve. The oculomotor nerve. What do you guys think an oculomotor nerve is?
I think it's the nerve that controls the balance of the sheep.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
And the
Mr. Jom's guess.
trigeminal nerve. The trigeminal nerve would be down here on the side somewhere. The nerves that might be visible in other specimens include olfactory, facial, acoustic, glossopharyngeal, vagus, accessory, and hypoglossal nerves. I don't know where those are. I don't think they're on here.
Yeah.
Carefully pull it down and back to open up the gap between the cerebellum and the cerebrum. Clearly I can't. Yes. Inside the gap, you should be able to make out the colloculus. The colloculus consists of superior colloculus and the inferior colloculus. The superior one controls eye movement. That's these little lumps right here. So the superior controls controls eye movement and certain aspects of visual processing, but a lot is still unknown about it. The inferior processes hearing sensation coming from the ears. Superior is a small structure located underneath at the base. The inferior is located just below the superior. It might be helpful to refer to figure 6.
There you go.
Okay. So there are these little lumps way down in here. So
Blood veins.
this is the superior, and then back behind it is the inferior. The superior.
Maybe that's
and
I can't turn
back down there is an inferior. Scalpel, cut the brain in half longitudinally along the sagittal plane. One brain, yeah.
That's why you're doing it.
Yep.
It's definitely real, bud. 100%. Looks like a steak, actually.
Yeah. We are not cooking this when we are done.
No, we're not cooking this particular one. That's so cool.
You should now have cross-sectional view of the inside of the brain. Notice the distinction in the cortex created by the sulci and gyri now, which are the dips and
the wrinkles.
Yeah, like you guys can really see, and like sheep have barely any wrinkles because sheeps are pretty darn dumb. But like
the smarter
you
are, the more wrinkles
yeah,
you have.
You guys have seen pictures of human brains.
No.
Don't
and, like,
say that to yourself, Hannah.
Think about
Please.
Einstein's brain, because he's like one of the smartest people. Like, think about how wrinkly his brain would have been. This was not a very smart sheep because it doesn't have a whole lot of wrinkles. Okay, so we should be able to make out the superior and inferior colloculus. Let's look at this picture. Superior, yep, see that's the one that we could see when we pulled it down. This is the superior colloculus and the inferior colloculus. This is called a pineal gland. This right here is a corpus callosum. That's the part that allows your brain to talk to each other. So the two halves.
Yeah, right behind you.
Yep.
Where's the switchboard at again?
This right here.
That big white nerve
Yep.
in the middle that loops around and connects to the...
Yep, connects all the way down here. That's what allows your brain, the two halves of your brain, to talk. And the pineal gland is just behind it. If you look closely, you should be able to make out gray matter and white matter. Do you guys see the differences in the gray and the white?
Yeah.
Up in this area.
Yeah.
I guess you can see it down here too. So the gray matter is darker in color, duh, and consists of nerve cell bodies. The white matter is very light, almost white, and relays sensory information to different parts of the brain and various nerves. So this is all nerves, and they all connect to this white part, which then connects to the big nerves, so that your brain is like, oh, that hurts, or oh, I like that. Or, oh, that's soft, or that tastes good. Final incision, optional. To get a better look at the gray matter and white matter, take one half of the already bisected brain and cut the cerebellum in half perpendicular to the previous incision. You should now be able to clearly distinguish perpendiculars this way.
Yes.
So now you can really clearly see there's a big glob of white matter.
Yeah.
And all this gray matter.
Yep.
I don't know what to do.
No, Vicky's cutting into a steak now.
Whoa.
Wow.
Oh wow, that is really crazy. Look at that.
Here, let's cut this big one and come this way.
That's really cool.
It's a bit harder than
See
the
all the
outside.
whites?
Yeah, look at the difference between the white and the gray matter, and there's that pink in the middle too.
Yeah.
That little bit of red is really cool.
Oh wow, that's really defined.
Oh, wow.
Cut. Look, you can see the wrinkles.
Yeah.
The difference in the. I've got a tool here.
Yep.
Right there. You can see how the
Yeah.
wrinkles, how the white matter comes up and connects
Yeah.
with the gray matter.
And
Right
here's
there.
all these like.
Because the white matter is kind of like your internet cables.
Yeah.
Your cabling,
Yep.
and the gray matter is like your hard drive. So it just stores all this, and then each wrinkle. If Mr. John remembers correctly, each wrinkle is a lot of data.
Yeah.
So it kind of does look like bacon.
Yeah.
It's awkward as awkward as it sounds.
Even stupid people have brains, right?
Yeah.
Yes, even stupid people have brains.
Like this was the hypothalamus right there.
This is the
Yeah.
gray matter and that's the white matter.
Yep.
This is so cool.
Have any questions from any pony?
Why does it look like steak?
That piece?
What's the red?
The red is probably blood. I mean, most of the blood is out. Let's see, this piece would be going this way. Yep, that is the big area is the thalamus. And the little area underneath is the hypothalamus. I think that's the
one of that
superior colloculus.
No.
All right. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Yeah, you can.
All right.
Hold it.
It looks like
Miss Vicky, any parting words?
Nope.
Yeah, other than she's about to vomit. So.
The gases start to hurt your eyes after a while.
Yeah, the smell of it. Okay.
yeah.